What's up guys, my name is Brandon. Welcome to Quickflix. Today, we are covering 1996's Scream, directed by Nightmare on Elm Street director Wes Craven. Scream was a revolutionary movie for the horror genre, for a number of reasons, doing things that other horror films had never done before. Fun little fact, Scream 5 is actually set for release sometime in 2021, which I'll cover when it comes out. For now, we're going to dive into Scream 1 through 4 for the next couple of weeks. With all of that out of the way, let's jump into the movie. The movie opens up with a teenage high school student, Casey Becker, answering her home phone to talk to a stranger with an attractive voice. She hangs up a few times, but the stranger is persistent on having a conversation with Casey. After a few chats, giggles, and talking about each other's favorite horror movies, the stranger at the other end of the line flips and makes it known he's watching her. Casey, in a panic, locks all of the doors and tries scaring off the stranger with her big football-playing boyfriend, only to find out he's on the patio tied up bleeding. The stranger asks her questions about horror films, and if she gets them correct, her boyfriend Steve lives. If she's wrong, he dies. The stranger asks somewhat of a trick question, Casey answering incorrectly.
Jason! Jason! Jason, I got up 20 goddamn times!
Resulting in Steve's death. The stranger, aka Ghostface, finally breaks into the house. Casey stealthily makes her way outside and sees her parents driving in, but Ghostface catches up and stabs her in the chest. Casey hits him down low and makes one last attempt to get away, trying to call for her parents but unable to. Ghostface catches up to her and finishes her off. Her parents hear her on the other end of the line and find the house filled with smoke. Her mom runs outside to go to the neighbor's house to call the police when she sees Casey hanging from the tree in the front yard. One of the most iconic openings to a horror movie ever. Later that night, we meet Sydney Prescott, another high school teen, and her boyfriend straight from The Outsiders, Billy Loomis. He sneaks through the window, and Sydney's dad charges to the room to find out what it was. Luckily, the door was locked. Sid opens the door, and to her dad's surprise, finds the room empty. Her dad informs her that he'll be out of town for the weekend. After, Billy discusses his issues he has with their relationship being a little too PG instead of R-rated. But Sydney's not feeling it due to her mom just being raped and murdered a year ago. Billy finally leaves, and we move into the next morning at Woodsboro High. The school is filled with police and press due to Casey Becker's death the previous night. Sydney walks around the school when she sees Gail Weathers reporting on the death and runs into her homie, Tatum, who gives her all of the details about the murder. The police interrogate the whole school, and it's finally Sydney's turn, where we meet Tatum's brother, Dewey. They don't really suspect her of doing anything because of what happened to her mother just a year prior. That was a really interesting memory. After school, Sydney and her group of friends, where we meet Stu, which is Tatum's boyfriend, and Randy, a football loving Stu, are all hanging out at a fountain. They just babble nonsense about the murders and don't really treat it somewhat. Later into the day, Sydney arrives home, where she watches the news, reporting on the death of the two students and calling back to her mother, Maori Prescott's death. Sydney refuses to watch after that, and goes to the other room to nap it out. She wakes up to a phone call from Tatum, asking Sid what movie she wants to watch tonight. After the call, she gets another call, with an attractive male voice at the other end of the line. They go back and forth with some small talk until Ghostface tells her she's at her front door. She investigates, doesn't see him, and calls his bluff. Ghostface then threatens to kill her just like her mother. She goes inside, locks the door, and out comes Ghostface from behind. They have a little brawl and a chase upstairs. Sid blocks the door off and contacts the police via computer. Ghostface disappears, and Billy shows up shortly after at the bedroom window. She goes to hug Billy when his cell phone drops out of his pocket, making her feel uneasy. She suspects Billy, goes downstairs to leave the house. She opens the front door and... Oh my god! Nah, it's just... They arrest Billy and take him to the station for questioning. While the sheriff questions Billy and his dad, Sid sneaks out the back with Tatum and Dewey due to the whole situation blowing up with the press. Gail Weathers catches them and immediately dives into questioning. There's a little beef between these two because Gail capitalized on Sid's mom's death, writing a book about it to get that back. Sid shortly after punches Gail right in the face. Tatum offers Sid to stay with her for the night for comfort, but just a few minutes later, Sid gets a call from Ghostface, leading her to believe Billy wasn't the killer after all. The next day, while Sid is walking into school, she sees Gail and her newsman applying makeup. Sid goes to talk to her to somewhat clear the air. Gail reveals she believes Cotton Weary, the man who's in jail for Maori Prescott's murder, is actually innocent and was framed for the murder. Sid tries not to believe her, but ultimately feels unsure. Sid finally gets ready for class, sees a student running around in a Ghostface costume, making her feel uneasy. She walks away, running into Billy. Billy essentially tells her she's never been the same after her mother's death, and she just needs to get over it and be the old Sid again. That does not sit well with her. She immediately goes to the restroom, sits in a stall, and listens to a cheerleader gossip rudely about her. The cheerleader and her friend finally leave the restroom, allowing Sid to leave the stall. She hears her name get whispered. She turns around and sees Ghostface stepping down from the toilet, unlocking the stall door and lunging at her. She makes it out safely and runs down the hall. Due to the situation, the school suspends all classes indefinitely, and the city gets an early curfew to try to prevent any further murder. Stu is absolutely thrilled and plans a party inviting Tatum, Sid, and a few of his other friends. While Principal Himbury is playing with the Ghostface mask in his office, he hears a knock at the door. He goes to investigate, where we see Wes Craven playing a janitor named Fred in a Freddy sweatshirt. I absolutely love this reference. Rest in peace, Wes. Himbury goes back to his office after finding no one. Shutting the door, Ghostface comes out from behind and stabs Himbury to death. Later into the day, Stu stops by the video store to chat with Randy. They discuss who they think is behind all of the murders. Stu thinking Sid's dad might have something to do with it, while Randy thinks everybody is a suspect, but especially Billy. Nighttime rolls around, and everyone is ready to party. As Dewey is on his way to check in on his party, he notices Gail and Kenny are there. He approaches them with some small talk, letting her know he's going inside to check out the party. Gail offers to go with him, being a little flirty. When they go in the house, Gail sneaks a little hidden camera on top of the VCR in the living room. Well, that's a little strange, Gail. Tatum goes to the garage that must be freezing to get some beers. She runs into Ghostface, but thinks it's Randy playing a little joke. After a cut on the arm, she realizes that's no Randy. It's mother heckin' Ghostface. She runs around, making Ghostface hilariously stumble all over the place. Tatum tries escaping through the cat door, but gets stuck. Ghostface opens the garage door, crushing Tatum and killing her. One of the most iconic kills in all of horror. Are finally starting to head home, and the party dies down a little bit. Billy shows up and pops his head around the corner. He wants to talk with Sid one-on-one, and Stu, being the homie that he is, lets them talk upstairs in his parents' bedroom. Sid talks to Billy about her feelings, and says that she doesn't want to end up like her mom, while Billy references horror movies. They end up finally doing the do, while the remaining partygoers watch John Carpenter's Halloween, my personal favorite horror movie. Randy gets up and tells the group about the rules to surviving a horror movie. Virgins live, no drinking or drugs, and never say, "I'll be right back," because you'll never be back. Shortly after, Randy answers the phone, relaying the message to his homies that Principal Himbury is dead, and is hanging on the field goal post at the football field. The high schoolers, getting excited from the message, dash to their cars and go check out the scene. Dewey and Gail are walking down the road, being all flirty, and they almost get run over by the students. Dewey lands on top of Gail. Aw, that's cute. They end up discovering Sid's dad's car, abandoned in the woods, since he's a main suspect. Gail and Dewey run back to the house to alert the others. After Sid and Billy's lovemaking, she questions him again, and still thinks he's a little suspicious. As she goes on about it, Ghostface appears behind Billy and supposedly stabs him, Billy falling down in the process. Sid runs, and we get a cool little chase scene throughout the house. Sid climbs out of a window and falls back onto a boat, rolling off, seeing Tatum's dead body and running for help. Randy, drunk and tired, is still watching Halloween when Ghostface comes up behind him. He subliminally keeps telling himself to turn around as Ghostface is about to kill him. Before Ghostface can do that, Sydney yells outside, alerting Ghostface. She runs to Kenny, who's in the news van, for help. He gets out to see what the deal is, but gets his throat cut before even taking 2 steps out of the van. Ghostface chases Sid, but she escapes, running into the fields. Dewey and Gail return to the scene, alarmed. Dewey scopes out the house, while Gail locks herself in the van and tries to call for help. Randy shows up, scaring her, leading to Randy getting punched several times. She drives off, and Kenny's body falls onto the windshield. She continues down the road, but Sid jumps into the middle of the road, causing Gail to drive off and crash. Sid, not giving 2 hecks about Gail, runs back to the house to see Dewey walking out of the front door with a knife in his back. Ghostface following behind him, gets his knife back and chases Sydney to the police cruiser. Unfortunately for Sid, Ghostface has the keys. He opens the back up and grabs Sydney, but once again, she escapes. She runs back to the house, picks up Dewey's gun, and turns around to see Randy and Stu pleading for the gun, accusing each other of being the killer. She doesn't trust either, and locks the door on both of them. Billy shows back up, falling down the stairs, appearing to not be able to walk very well. Sid hands him the gun, and Billy opens the front door to get help, but instead, Randy charges in, accusing Stu of being the killer. Billy turns around slowly, makes another horror movie reference, and shoots Randy in the chest. He reveals that he used corn syrup to portray blood. Sid, looking distraught, runs into Stu, asking for help. Stu pulls out a voice changer, where we hear the attractive male voice again. They trap her in the kitchen and show off their psycho sides, disturbing Sydney in a number of ways. They reveal to her that they in fact were the ones who murdered her mom, Maureen Prescott. Apparently Maureen had been sleeping with Billy's dad, causing his parents to get a divorce. His mom abandoned him. They frame Con Weary for that murder, and reveal they're going to frame Sydney's dad for all of these murders. They explain their entire plan, and to seal the deal, they let Sid watch as they stab each other, but not too deep, showing that they were also attacked, but survived the whole incident. After, they're ready to end this thing. Stu goes to get the gun, but realizes it's missing. In the other room stands Gail, holding the gun up, ready to shoot, but doesn't realize the safety was turned off. Billy kicks her down the stairs and takes the gun back. Sydney takes the opportunity to hide and call the police. She then calls Billy and Stu using the voice changer, making Billy go on a rampage. Stu stays on the phone with Sid as he cries. Knowing the police are coming, he is mad at him. Billy checks a room under the stairs, and out comes Sid, stabbing Billy in the chest with an umbrella, wearing the Ghostface costume. Stu comes out, charging Sid. They fight, but Sid ends up on top and pushes the TV onto his head, killing Stu. Sid goes back to check on Randy, but Billy gets back up, punches Randy, and gets ready to stab Sid, when Gil remembers the safety this time, and shoots Billy in the chest. The three group up and stand over Billy. He comes back for one last scare, but gets shot right in the head. Sid's dad then comes out of hiding and gets untied. Morning strikes, and the police and medics are here. Dewey still seems to be alive, but getting carted away in an ambulance. The movie ends with Gail Weathers giving a report on the events that just took place in his house.